Guten Morgen Deutsch 2101. A brief overview here for you for the simple past. I'll follow up with this with one about the Plusquamperfekt and also the als wenn wann. Recall that simple past is just one of the past forms. Most oftentimes it's used to referring to past narration, news events. It's used in literature, but not to say that in a news article you can't also see present tense, present perfect tense, plusquam, etc. When you do see a news article, oftentimes you'll see all tenses integrated into that, and all cases as well. But nevertheless, this one is used mostly when narrating a past event that's in the past, over and done with. So let's look at some examples here. Okay. Remember that we have regular and irregular verbs with this. So what I like to do is think in English here: cook, cooked, work, worked, right? Make, made, etc. This doesn't always pertain to every single verb. Excuse me for that. But basically what you're going to do is take the root of the verb, such as the verb here, kochen, right? And what I mean by the root is just koch. Most verbs, other than verbs like sein, are going to end in en in the infinitive. Kochen, arbeiten, hören, etc. Okay, so what you're going to do is just use that root, and then the suffix is always going to be a t and an e, but it'll change depending on the subject. Most of the time, for now, what we're going to need to know are first person, ich kochte, third person, sie es kochte. You may see a plural in there, wir kochten, or Stefan und Susanne kochten das Abendessen, or sie kochten. Okay? But for purposes now, it's just to get used to the first and the third persons there. Okay? If a verb such as arbeiten is given to you, this root ends in a T, arbeiten, okay? So we're just going to insert an E, just as we normally do when we conjugate the verb, but this one's going to precede that TE suffix. Ich arbeitete. Ich arbeitete gestern 8 Stunden. Okay? Wir arbeiteten die ganze Nacht. Hans arbeitete sehr hart. Okay, things like this. And here is a chart for you to look at that shows all the different pronouns and how you'd conjugate all these. Ich koche, du kochtest. Sie kochten, er kochte, sie kochte, es kochte. Wir kochten, ihr kochtet, sie kochten. With arbeiten, it would be ich arbeitete, du arbeitetest. Sie arbeiteten, er arbeitete, sie arbeitete, es arbeitete. Wir arbeiteten, ihr arbeitetet, sie arbeiteten. And again, first and third person, meaning ich, and then er, sie, es, match. Also, too, if you look at the handout that I had given you, some verbs that are commonly associated with the regular, right? Kochen, arbeiten, machen, hören, kaufen, verkaufen. Okay, verbs like these. Reparieren even. Okay, telefonieren, funktionieren. Okay, I would look at that list of verbs, or also from any of the homeworks for your review. Okay, simple past of irregular verbs. Okay, thinking again in English, I go, I went, right? I eat, I ate, I swim, I swam. Similar in German, although there's always going to be an exception, but for the most part, it's going to have a stem change. So we basically change the root of the verb and the ending. So I would not say ich gehte, I go, I goed. It'd be false. Ich gehe, ich ging, I go, I went. Yeah, ich gehe, ich ging nach Hause. Er ging nach Hause. Again, first and third person match. Doesn't matter if it's regular or irregular. Okay, so swim, swam, swam. Schwimmen, schwamm, ist geschwommen. Okay, so if you have a hard time remembering too, since we've already worked with the present perfect, if you can remember the past participle, which is always the ge word, right? Gearbeitet, gelesen, gesehen, geschwommen, gemacht, okay? And I'm giving you some regular and irregular ones there. So if you look at those, and if it ends in an en, right? Gelesen, geschwommen, gesehen, gesungen, getrunken, all of those, if it ends in the en, then we're going to have more than likely a stem change here, and it's going to be irregular. Let's look at geben. Geben, gab, hat, gegeben. Alright? So the difference there, give, gave, has given, or have given. Machen, machte, hat gemacht, that has a regular pattern, right? So I'm showing you the difference there. Sprechen, sprach, hat gesprochen. Speak, spoke. Okay? Then let's look at some of the mixed verbs. Alright? Denken, kennen, nennen, rennen, wissen. Okay? These are, in my opinion, some of the easier ones, because if you think of it in the present perfect, ich habe gedacht, ich habe gekannt, ich habe genannt, ich bin gerannt, ich habe gewusst. Okay? So those already have the stem change. All you have to do is add an E to all those, and then get rid of the auxiliary, the habe or the bin, right? Ich dachte, ich kannte, ich rannte, ich wusste. Okay? So let's look at a few examples of those in the Google Doc. So let's look at these. We're starting with the irregular. Ich ging nach Japan. Sie ging nach Wien. Wir gingen ins Kino. So here's some example of first and third person from gehen, ging, and then a plural, gingen. I went to Japan. She went to Vienna. We went to the movies. Stefan trank eine Cola. Eva trank Kaffee. Und der Hund trank aus der Toilette. Ekelig. Looking at regular verbs. Wir lachten. Okay, sie machte die Tür zu. So the first one, wir lachten, we laughed. Sie machte die Tür zu shows us a separable prefix verb. Okay, zumachen means to close, as in to close a door, for example. Sie machte die Tür zu. Der Vater reparierte den Wagen. Susanne und Michaela arbeiteten die ganze Nacht an der Schularbeit. Okay, so she closed the door, the father repaired the car, Susanna and Michaela worked the entire night on the school project. Das Kind spielte im Sandkasten. The child played in the sand box.